Please remain standing for the singing of the national anthem sung by Academy instructor Jamie Buckley-Biesecker. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave? I would now like to welcome Jonathan Tobar, Principal of the Academy, to lead our invocation.
Please join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for blessing us with this day, a day in which we celebrate the talents and gifts you have provided to these students. We thank you for blessing them with such loving and supportive families and for entrusting them to us here at the Academy. May thy blessings rest upon each of the graduates and their families as they commence this new journey. Bless them and prosper them. Lord, be the compass they need to navigate this next chapter in life. May your strength be their comfort and protection. Teach them that this life is not merely for living for themselves, but for others. Bless them with many years of happiness and success. All this we pray for these thy children, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
You may be seated. At this time, I would like to introduce LISD Superintendent Jim Philp to deliver our welcome.
Thanks, Deanna. Good evening. Tonight, we're here to honor 7 graduates, 4 of whom have achieved an associate's degree, all of whom have achieved at least 15 credit hours at Jackson College besides their diploma. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication to be able to do that. And I would like to introduce one of last year's graduates just to show how dedicated these students are. Kyle O'Connor, if you'd stand up for just a minute, please. Kyle was a graduate from 2015, is attending Adrian College currently, and he is 9 credit hours from a bachelor's degree. 9 credit hours. Thanks, Kyle. Congratulations. This is the 4th year that we have been awarding diplomas from the JCLISD Academy. It's the 6th year of operation, and I'm sure you've read a few things in the paper or heard a few things about the Academy, but we are pushing on. We believe in the Academy and believe what it does for these young men and women, and as you can see, what it has done for Kyle. I'm Jim Philp, as Deanna said. I'm superintendent of the LISD, and I'm retiring this summer, and it's very bittersweet, mostly because of programs like these that we offer. This is an exceptional program, and as you hear from some of the students tonight and see their accomplishments, you're going to understand what I'm talking about. We're really here tonight because of risks. We're here because of the risk that the LISD board took about 7 years ago when they decided that this was the right thing to do for Lenawee County. We're here because of risks from your parents. Your parents took a risk in the LISD by saying, yeah, I want my son or daughter to go to this school, the only type of school like this in Lenawee County. And you've taken a risk also by coming here. A lot of unknowns, but thank you for taking that risk. These students have, as I mentioned, have gone above and beyond to achieve what they have achieved. As you know, this is not a typical school. Attendance isn't taken every day necessarily. You don't have to be on campus the entire school day. There's a lot of freedoms here. But that's part of the middle college is being able to deal with those freedoms, adapt, be grown up enough to know how to act when you're interacting with college students. So it's a very, very different school. I would like at this time to introduce Senator Dale Zorn and his wife. Senator Zorn will have a few words in a moment, but Senator Zorn, thank you very much for being here tonight. A round of applause for the senator. On behalf of the LISD Board of Education, LISD administration, Jackson College, LISD Academy staff, welcome, and again, certainly congratulations to our graduates this evening. Thank you.
This time we'd like to welcome Senator Zorn up here for just a few words. Thank you for being here and your support of our middle college and all of our programs here in Lenawee County.
Thank you. It's simply a pleasure for my wife Cindy and I to be here tonight, as we do have a great connection with a graduating member, with George Bondi. He was a intern for us in Lansing for 3 months, I think it was. And so we have a great connection, but you know what I'd really like to say to the graduates tonight? You may be graduating from the middle college program, but you're really beginning a life that you will have to make decisions on, a life that some decisions won't be as good as others. But the best part about this is you received one of the best educations that we have in the state of Michigan. And I'd like to congratulate the moms and dads and the grandmas and grandpas that helped these kids get through, especially receiving an associate degree. It's a great program, and I hope that these programs just grow, because I wish I would have had this opportunity when my kids was in school, that they would have had the opportunity to get an associate degree before let me put it this way, get the associate degree while the state pays for it, rather than you and me. I think that's the simplest way of saying it. But as you go forward, don't ever, ever take no for an answer. Never listen to those that say you can't do that, because whatever it is, you can. Once upon a time, probably when I was your age, my dad told me that I would be the next generation of leaders. I said, yeah, right. The truth is, you will be. Some of you may become senators. Some of you may become doctors, lawyers. You may go in a totally different direction in another 5 years. But you can. Don't ever take no for an answer. I wish you very well and Godspeed as you go forward to make our communities a better place to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Zorn. At this time, I would like to welcome our first graduate to the podium, George Bundy.
All right. Hi, my name's George Bundy. I'm a third year at the Academy. It's been a long 3 years, one filled with struggles, obstacles, and about anything you could think that would throw a monkey wrench in your little operation of going to school. I've had surgery, had to miss 3 weeks of class. Gave me no excuses why I can't do better. On that note, I'd love to say something to the Academy, about the Academy. I was 15 when I started the Academy. Just out of my 10th grade year at Adrian High School, I was asked a trick question. The question was, what do you want to be? The first thing that came to my mind was I wanted to be a cop, a lawyer, a writer. I picked all these options because I was forced to pick something that other people told me I wanted to be. At Adrian during career days, they asked me what I wanted to be, and I always came up with the answer of, I wanted to be president. That was always my answer. And then I was given the response of, don't be dumb, don't be stupid, pick something realistic. So while they were asking us what we wanted to be, they were telling us what not to be. At the Academy, I wasn't told that. All the staff, all the teachers, all the students asked me, what can I do to help? How can I help you? How can I bring you to be a better student? And I remember Mr. Tobar, he says, your failures are your fault and your successes are also your fault. Mr. Tobar, I challenge your thinking. We at the Academy, over my 3 years, are a team. My successes are not just my successes. I share them with you. My failures, I share them with you, just as I failed my math class. I shared it with you. There was a book I was taught in my human resource management classes. I struggled in this class. I felt like I was getting graded unfairly based on me being younger and stuff like that, but I overcame and I got a 4.0. And one thing I took from it was Patrick Lencioni's 5 dysfunctions of a team. The first one is an absence of trust. And I cannot stress this enough. The Academy literally spends days building trust. Mr. Tobar, I would trust you with my life. I would trust the Academy staff with my life. And this is one of the things that have helped us succeed here at the Academy. On a final note, no person here is graduating ordinary. You're all extraordinary people doing extraordinary things. Congratulations. Ronald Reagan once said, no arsenal or no weapon in the world of arsenals is as formidable as the world of moral courage of men and free women.
Thank you, George. Now I'd like to welcome Jonathan Dashner to the podium.
Good evening. I'd just like to quickly thank my family and friends for helping me along the way. And I'd also like to thank peers of the class of 2016. You'll never find a more supportive group of peers of any graduating class of 2016. If you ever need a hand to reach out to, they're always there. And I challenge you to find a more supportive team than the administrators of the Academy. But tonight, I'd like to give a very special thanks to two very important people in my life, and that is my mother and father. Even if I was so stubborn to not ask for their help and I tried my best to just stay on my own, so full of pride. They're always there with helping hands. Even if I didn't want it, they always offered to help me, and I'd always push them away, but thank you so much for helping me along the way and getting me to where I am.
Thank you, John. Thank you, graduates. And now allow me to introduce our guest speaker for the evening. Marina Morris is a graduate of Adrian College and works as an account manager for a software company called iDashboards. She collaborates with other software companies that look to integrate software into theirs as their front-end data visualization tool. Basically, they make data look awesome and easy to read. When she was going into high school, her mom gave her some good advice. At that time, she didn't really understand what she meant. But when she got into college, those words echoed in her head. Those words became truth for her the very first time she was made fun of at Adrian College. And when she did her first TEDx talk, Ditch or Diss, those words ultimately became her life. She began to realize what she had meant all those years. She would say, some will, some won't, who cares? This became the backbone to what she believes today. Please join me in welcoming Miss Marina Morris to the stage.
Thank you. By the way, I am so humbled to be here in front of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all 7 of you today. I don't think in my lifetime I've ever met students that were as dedicated and hardworking. And I know none of these people personally, but I can just tell after 5 minutes of being here, you have some incredible kids. You guys are incredible. Give yourself a round of applause. When I was 7 years old, I was sitting outside in the hallway during every art class. I would sit there wondering why I was the one being left out. I was really good at drawing horses and faces and trees and homes. But what I couldn't do is simply cut a straight line with scissors. But my teacher hadn't known that I had other talents. So one day, my mom came to get me early after begging her to. She wanted to know why I fussed so much about the last hour. She walked in and saw me sitting outside in the hallway and automatically thought that I was in really big trouble. When she asked why I was sitting out there, I simply looked up at her and I said, I can't cut a straight line with scissors, so I don't deserve art class. This went on for 3 months. I would sit outside in the hallway during art class for 3 months. But I'll never forget that day. My mother walked straight into the classroom, looked that teacher dead in the face, and till this day I'm still scared of her evil eye. And I'll never forget the words she said to her. She said, "Who cares if my daughter can't cut a straight line with scissors, unless she's going to be a seamstress?" Guess what? I am not a seamstress. Then I remember those 4 words that I will always remember. She deserves art class. And from that moment on, despite my cerebral palsy, I always remember that I deserve art class. That I deserved ballet and karate and softball and golf, even though 3 out of those 4 things I absolutely stunk at. My name is Marina Morris, and when I was a freshman at Adrian College, go Bulldogs, I decided, or rather was forced upon by my roommate, to try out for the Adrian College talent show. That night of the show, I was so stinking scared to go on stage. I didn't like talking to crowds. I didn't like talking to people. I would always get nervous. So I did what any 18-year-old girl would do. I called my mother. And she gave me, "Calm the heck down, Marina, you're not going to Nam to fight a war" speech. "You're just reading poetry." And before she hung up, she simply said, "Some will, some won't. Who cares? Some are going to like me, some are not going to like me. Who cares?" I walked up, looked at the crowd, and decided right then and there that I deserve art class. And I said, "Hello, my name is Marina Morris. I shake, it's what I do. I got over it, and so should you." And that night, I won 3rd place for stand-up comedy and poetry. The stand-up comedy was not something I was planning on doing. You see, my story and the way that I live my life today, and the way I hope you do as you continue on after you walk out those 4 doors, despite the fact that society thinks I have a disability, began of those 4 words that my mom told me long ago. Some will, some won't, who cares? No matter what you do in life, graduates, no matter where you go, no matter who you meet, and no matter what disability you may think you have, I want each and every single one of you and your parents and friends and family to walk away tonight knowing that you can do incredible things and that you already have. I sat right where you are 8 years ago when I graduated from Lutheran High North, and I sat right where you are 6 years ago when I graduated from Adrian College. I know how some of you must feel. Am I going to find a job? Where am I going to continue my education? What am I going to do with my life? And parents, I know how some of you must feel and what some of you must be thinking. Have I taught my child everything I need to? Have I prepared them? Are they ready? And if you're anything like my parents were at the day of my graduation, you must be thinking, thank God he or she is off the mom and dad money tree. Well, let me tell you the answer to each and every single one of those questions. It's a simple answer. Yup. You are able. Yes, I am able. Tell yourself that every single day when you look in the mirror. ABLE. That is an incredibly powerful word. Every single one of you is able of blank. What do you want to do with your life? What are you able of? Some of you are able of doing math calculations in your head. I can't even do 2 + 2. Some of you are going to be able to be a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, a professor. Sometimes it's difficult to understand that we are able because we get down on ourselves. I know I have. Or those around us may be telling us that we cannot, that we are unable, that we never will. I totally understand that. I've been told that countless of times. I've had moments in my life where I felt that I wasn't good enough to do the things I knew I could, which is why I came up with 4 steps towards ditching your ditching your disability, and becoming more able in life. And remember that a disability doesn't have to be physical, something that is physically wrong with you. It can be emotional, it can be spiritual, it can be mental. A disability is something in life that is preventing you from being able to do the things God knows you can. And the first step is the A. Change your attitude. Raise your hand if you've ever had a really bad attitude. Right? I mean, just driving here today, I had a bad attitude because I was stuck in traffic. I believe we all share a common disability at some point in our lives. And that common disability is a bad attitude. I can't tell you how many times I would sit in my bed in my dorm room, telling myself that I would never find a job, that I would never succeed, that I would never make anything out of myself. We all had a bad attitude at some point in our lives, and that's okay. But we have to change it when we feel like it's preventing us from being able. The first step towards becoming able is to change that attitude. Raise your hand if you all know who Christopher Reeve is. Yes. Yay, even the young people. Christopher Reeve once said that a hero is someone who, in spite of weakness, doubt, or not always knowing the answers, goes ahead and perseveres anyway. When you leave these doors, graduates, you are not going to know all of the answers to the questions you have. Nobody does. I still don't. But I want you to be your own hero, and I want you to live your passion. Live your dream every single day. Be able, change your attitude, and you will be surprised at just how able you've always been. Now, before we continue any further, I want to share something with you a little bit personal about me. I was adopted from Russia in 1996 at the age of 6 years old. I still look 6 years old. When I lived in that place, I would watch every single kid leave. I would watch a mom and a dad enter the room, asking myself, are they here for me? I would always ask myself, would anybody ever really want a little girl with cerebral palsy? Would I be enough for them? Well, in 1996, July, I was. And I went home to America after 12 hours of screaming on the plane. I'm pretty sure my parents wanted to send me back. There are days that I had a really bad attitude about whether or not I would ever be picked. And sometimes I had to change that attitude every hour, sometimes every minute, sometimes even every second. There will be times in your life where you feel like you just want to give up. And nothing is going your way. And when that moment in your life happens, you need to decide right then and there to change your attitude, to become more able to get through the crud and the muck and the lemons and the bricks that life throws at you. Because guess what? When you decide to change your attitude and become more able, you're going to have a story to tell. The second step is the B. Wait, AB, yep, AB. Dump your baggage. You know what I'm talking about. When I was in high school, I played varsity golf, if you can believe that. In fact, golf is the only time in my life where I don't shake when I'm holding a golf club. And I remember junior year regionals like it was yesterday. I was on the 12th hole, and I hit this beautiful drive right down the fairway. It's gorgeous. But as soon as I swung through the ball, my hip popped out. And to this day, it still remained one of the most excruciating pain I've ever felt. And with every step I took, the pain just got worse and worse. My golf coach finally came up to me at the end of the 12th hole. And she said, "Marina, you did it, you made it, you can stop now." And I looked at her and I said, "Listen, please give me a cart. I want to finish." And I did. You see, all throughout high school, I would carry my bag. And I would carry my bag because I didn't want anybody to see that I was any different. I didn't want anybody to see my cerebral palsy or that I was any different of a person. I was literally hiding behind my bag. But at that point on regionals junior year, I literally dumped my baggage and rode in a cart. And those last 6 holes, I finished with 4 pars and 2 bogey, and went on to play for the last individual spot to states. I lost. And I had to do a 1.5 years of physical therapy to get back to where I was. But at that point, I literally dumped my baggage. And after a 1.5 years, I went on to play 2 years of collegiate level golf at Adrian College. Go Bulldogs. And at Adrian College, I rode my cart every day, every step of the way. I literally dumped my baggage. Parents, students, there will be baggage that you are going to have to dump at some point in your life. Decide to do so, and decide to change your attitude. And when you do, you can go on to the 3rd step. Eliminate your limits. How many of you know who Eleanor Roosevelt is? Oh, thank God. This beautiful woman once said that no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Think about that. What I have learned in my life is that when we start believing that what others say we cannot do is true, you are automatically giving them consent to make you feel like you cannot, to make you feel that you are unable. What I want you to remember today is this. When that happens, even if that person is you, I want you to either look at yourself in the mirror, or I want you to look at the other person and say these 2 small but very powerful words. Watch me. Watch me. When I was interviewing during college for a career, I would always let the person know after my interview was done that they would see me again. And they asked me if they would, and I would turn around and I would always say, "Watch me." And then I left like a bad, you know what. After you change your attitude and dumped your baggage and eliminated your limits, the last step is my favorite, because only then will you be able to envision your best. It's the simplest of all the steps. What you'll be able to realize after the first 3 steps is this. I want you to envision the life that you want for yourself, the life that God has already planned for you. Close your eyes and ask yourself, where do you want to be in 5 years? For me, I wanted to have a job right out of college. So I decided to become more able and follow the steps. And the day after I graduated from Adrian College, May 4th, I started working for iDashboards May 5th. I literally graduated, went home, went to bed, and went to work. I need a vacation. I understand that finding a career and asking yourself what's the next step is difficult. But I want you to remember this. always, 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 always follow your passion. Follow your dream. My passion is speaking and advocating for those that have yet to find their voice, especially for those with disabilities. Society likes to call them disabilities. My passion is to inspire others. Ask yourself, graduates, what is your passion? And maybe one day, like myself, you'll no longer have to envision your best because you'll be living it. Thank you, good luck, and always remember, some will, some won't. Who cares? You deserve art class. Thank you.
Thank you, Marina, for those encouraging words. I would now like to welcome Jonathan Tobar back to the podium, to the stage for a special recognition.
This time, I'd like to recognize students for their academic achievements. Students, as your name is called, please stand. George Bundy. George is part of Phi Theta Kappa, a National College Honor Society meant to recognize and encourage scholarship among two-year college students. Students are eligible to join this chapter by completing a minimum of 12 college credit hours with a minimum cumulative college grade point average of 3.5 on a 4.0 scale. Please join me in giving George a round of applause for his hard work and dedication, which welcomed him into Phi Theta Kappa. You may be seated. Additionally, I'd like to recognize the following graduates for their superior academic accomplishments. Graduates, please rise as your name is called. Completing with a cumulative high school grade point average of 3.0 to 3.5, George Bundy. Alexandra Brockhagen. And Jenna Goldsworthy. You may be seated. Alas, graduates, you've made it. All of those late nights, early morning exams, heavy backpacks, hot and ready pizzas are no more. Not really, right? Just, they will continue next year in a different place. And right now, I want you to take this moment in and celebrate. Enjoy your efforts. Take the time to thank the people who have brought you here, who have been along this journey beside you. You've made sacrifices. You've said no to things that perhaps the typical 15, 16, 17-year-old would have said yes to choose a higher calling, to choose to do more, to choose a road less traveled. And these are the people who love you more than anyone else who went through this journey with you. And we can't be more thankful to them, and we can't be more proud of you for all of your efforts and accomplishments. I would like to present each of you with one final gift and one final challenge. We have for each of you a world map. It isn't just an ordinary map, right? Because that would be very boring. It's a scratch-off map. So every time you visit a country, you scratch off that country on this map, so everybody can see it. So we have one of these for each of you. You see, we live in a country that has the luxury of sitting in coffee shops and thinking about what we're going to do with our life. And perhaps you've spent much of this time doing so this year. Perhaps answering questions for others, such as, where are you going to go to school? Or what do you want to do when you grow up? Or do you have a job? And the list could go on. But who asks such questions? We do. First world problems, right? Only the prosperous are haunted by these problems. These aren't second and third world country questions, because if you're a second or third world country, all you're guaranteed is today, this very moment. And that changes everything. That changes your perspective, because everything you do is then based on living and dying. And I want you to see that for yourself. firsthand, to feel it, to see it, to experience it. It's something that your time here simply could not teach you that. You only learn it by seeing that and the way that most of the rest of the world actually lives. I have traveled to 34 different countries, and I have learned that the life I want to live begins with appreciating the life I have right now. It is easy to look toward the future and what we hope will happen, rather than recognizing the aspects of our life that are good right now. Maybe we don't have everything we want, and you probably have some things you don't want, but we have so many things that we enjoy that we take for granted. Our health, our freedom, our intelligence, our education, and even our very own aliveness. Maybe you don't have the best summer job lined up, but most of you have a job that you can buy allows you to buy some indulgences, which you want. Perhaps you're going to be still living with your parents this fall as you're commuting to college, but it means that you will have a loving support system at home there with you, which you want. Maybe your best friend is going to move away to college somewhere far, but the fact that you have someone that you care enough about that you will miss is something you want. When we pause to absorb and feel the gratitude for the beauty of that's really lying in front of us, we realize that nothing is as urgent, as stressful, as desperate, or as miserable as we envision it to be. We can still want and aspire many great things, but acknowledging the positivity in our current situations is only the foundation on which we can do that. After all, how can we want more of anything if we are not happy with and cherish the things we already have? Take the time each day to recognize what brings the joy and fulfillment to your life. In other cultures, this moment that we are living right now is of the highest value, and tomorrow of the lowest value, until tomorrow is today. We wouldn't know how to be human unless we learned it from other humans. How to speak, if we didn't learn how to speak from other humans. We wouldn't know what to believe unless we heard it from others around us, shared with us what they believe. So we depend completely on others to shape us. Allow the cultures and people groups of the whole world to be your teacher. There are 206 countries on our planet, and I want you to go out and see as many of them as possible. I'm so very proud of the world changers you already are, and I cannot wait to see you go out and add value to the life of others. Congratulations. And now the moment you've all been waiting for. Superintendent Philp, if you'll please come up forward. On behalf of the faculty and administration of the JC LISD Academy, a regional middle college, I certify that each of the candidates whose names here shall after be called has satisfactorily met and fulfilled the requirements that have been legislated by the Michigan Department of Education and the Board of Education of the London Intermediate School District in partnership with the 11 local school districts. Superintendent Philp, if you would please present the graduates their diplomas. Graduates, please rise.
LISD Board Treasurer Carrie Dillon had a previous engagement, but she was able to get here. So I would like to introduce her, and she will be assisting in presenting the diplomas this evening.
Thank you. Didn't see you hiding back there. Thank you for being here. Each graduate will be receiving their high school diploma in addition to the Michigan Early Middle College Association Technical Certificate and a certificate of congratulations from our 17th District Senator Dale Zorn. Alexandra Brockhagen. George Bundy. Jonathan Dashner. Jenna Goldsworthy. Justin Long. Shania Sanders. And Ryan Shantz. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the distinct honor of presenting to you the JC LISD Academy, a regional middle college, class of 2016.
Let's give our graduates another round of applause. At this time, I would like to welcome JC at LISD Tech Dean Michael Masters, who will deliver our benediction. You may be seated.
As we enter into this Memorial Day weekend, let us remember the lives of those good men and women who sacrificed everything to build this nation and provide to us the liberty and freedoms that we all enjoy today. We recall the Jeffersonian tenet of the critical import of an educated populace in the maintenance of a free and democratic society. We stand firm and unwavering in upholding this tenet to the value and criticality of rich and diverse educational opportunities and options for all. All here this evening, students, educators, and parents alike, have benefited immensely from the blessing that is the JC LISD Academy. And we ask that God guide our graduates in their words and deeds as they set out to be servant leaders and strive to make every moment of every day a better place for all that they encounter. Congratulations, graduates.